You wake up. Maybe you reach for your phone. Maybe you check the time, calculate your day, recall your list of tasks. Your body, without effort, already knows the rhythm. You step into the day like it's a script already written. And yet, something in you whispers, is this all there is? The truth is, the world most people live in is not the only world that exists. It's just the loudest, the most repeated, the most endorsed by systems that taught us to strive, compete, compare, and exhaust ourselves for a fleeting moment of enough. We were taught that life is hard, that we must deserve ease, that peace is a reward, not a baseline. But that version of reality is not truth. It's programming, a collective trance passed down by generations of survival. It's not wrong, just incomplete, like living inside a single room of a vast house, never knowing other wings even exist. There is another way to live, not in theory, not in fantasy, in practice, in vibration, a way where life is not a series of problems to solve, but a field to be harmonized, where the moment doesn't demand control, it invites collaboration, where the universe doesn't test you, it mirrors you. Some call it the fifth dimension, but let's set aside the terminology and call it what it truly is, a state of being where lightness is normal and peace is not postponed. It's not a place to escape to. It's not even separate from this world. It's a layer of the same field, accessed not by effort, but by frequency. You don't go there, you tune into it. And here's the paradox, you've already felt it. That morning when everything felt slow, and you didn't rush. That afternoon when you laughed for no reason. That glance from someone that made time feel suspended. The walk where the sky seemed bluer than usual. Those were not just nice moments. They were fragments of the higher field. You were there, even if briefly. And the truth is, the fifth dimension isn't a new place. It's a forgotten one. It's not something to reach. It's something to return to. But why don't we live there all the time? Because we've been trained to expect tension, to anticipate pain. We were taught to believe in gravity more than grace. We entered a collective agreement that struggle equals value, that burnout equals success, that proving yourself is the cost of belonging. So we wake up into that version of life every day, not because it's the truth, but because it's familiar. The fifth dimension begins not when you change your life, but when you change how you inhabit your life, when you soften your grip, when you stop fighting reality and start vibrating with it, when you let stillness be just as productive as motion, when you stop postponing joy. It begins with the decision to see the world differently, and that decision doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It could be as quiet as choosing to breathe slower while brushing your teeth, noticing the texture of your morning tea, not checking your phone right away, smiling at someone without needing them to smile back. These are not small things, these are portals. Every time you choose presence over pressure, softness over performance, wonder over cynicism, you're tuning into another layer of reality. You're remembering how to live from the inside out, and the universe listens. This is not wishful thinking, it's vibrational physics. The observer effect in quantum mechanics has shown us that the consciousness of the observer affects the behavior of particles. If it's true in a lab, it's true in your kitchen, in your thoughts, in your field. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And who you are is shaped by what you consistently vibrate. When you vibrate urgency, life responds with chaos. When you vibrate openness, life brings ease. When you vibrate trust, life becomes surprisingly coherent. So let me ask you, what is your life currently mirroring back to you? Not as punishment, not as test, but as feedback, as information, as a gentle echo of your own state. If what you see outside feels heavy, maybe the shift doesn't start with fixing anything. Maybe it starts with remembering that there's another frequency available, and that frequency already exists in you. It always has. You don't need to earn your way into a higher dimension. You only need to recognize it. And if you're here, listening, something in you already knows, already remembers, already resonates. This is your first key. The world you were given is not the only one that exists. The world you were trained to expect doesn't define the one you can now choose. Perhaps the time has come not to leave this world, but to recode it from the inside. If this resonated even a little, perhaps your next step is not more effort, but more stillness. And maybe, just maybe, your stillness is the most powerful frequency you've ever known. If this stirred something inside, consider subscribing and walking this vibrational path with us. Each breath you take in remembrance becomes an anchor for others. And together, we form the new field. We are taught that life happens to us, that circumstances unfold, people behave, events occur, and we are simply reacting to what's real. But what if reality isn't fixed? What if it's filtered, projected, translated through a lens that is moment by moment, shaped by your vibration? You are not experiencing the world as it is. You are experiencing the world as you are. Your beliefs, emotions, subconscious patterns, expectations, and energetic signature form a kind of vibrational lens, invisible but absolute. And through that lens, reality takes shape. It's not that life isn't happening, it is. But how you interpret it, feel it, respond to it, that's not passive. That's designed, not consciously perhaps, but vibrationally, every moment. Your inner field is adjusting your outer perception. Two people can walk through the same street at the same time and live radically different realities. One sees noise, danger, tension. The other sees rhythm, warmth, a child laughing by a window. The difference is not in the street, it's in the lens. You are the lens. And here's the truth most people miss. That lens is not fixed. It's tunable, and the tuning happens vibrationally. The fifth dimension is not a distant galaxy, it's a frequency range. One that responds not to logic but to coherence. You don't access it by doing more. You access it by being different, and it starts with awareness. Ask yourself, what am I vibrating right now? Is it expansion or contraction? Is it presence or reaction? Is it alignment or performance? These are not philosophical questions. They are vibrational levers, because your vibration determines what you perceive, and what you perceive becomes your world. So let's make this practical. Let's say you're in traffic. You're running late. Your body tightens. Your thoughts spiral. You begin to vibrate urgency, frustration, maybe even blame. In that state, the world becomes narrow. Everything annoys you. Everyone seems aggressive. You miss the beauty on the sidewalk. You forget to breathe. Now imagine this. Same traffic, same delay, but you take one conscious breath. You notice your tension. You soften your shoulders. You choose not to resist but to surrender. You say silently, "This is not ideal, but I won't fight it." And suddenly, something shifts. Your field calms. You open to the moment. Maybe you notice a song playing that moves you. Maybe you see the light in someone's eyes next to you. Maybe a sense of stillness arises in the midst of the noise. What changed? The traffic? No. Your vibration did, and with it, the dimension of your experience. This is not wishful thinking, it's science, it's neurobiology. When you enter states of calm, gratitude, compassion, or wonder, your nervous system enters coherence. Your heart sends harmonious signals to your brain. Your body functions more efficiently. Your perception sharpens. Your field expands, and that expanded field begins to attract different outcomes. The Heart Math Institute has shown us that the human heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field, and that this field changes dramatically depending on your emotional state. When you feel love or appreciation, the field becomes coherent, organized, and expansive. And what you emit, you invite. Incoherent fields attract chaotic patterns. Coherent fields attract order, ease, synchronicity. This is the mechanism of vibrational reality, and this is why how you feel matters more than what you do. Now let's go deeper. What happens when your lens is shaped by old stories? When you keep vibrating from wounds you forgot to notice? When the frequency you carry was inherited from a childhood of contraction? You unconsciously emit signals of scarcity, distrust, tension, and the field responds, not to punish you, but to reflect you. But here's the miracle. You can rewrite that lens in real time, not by fighting it, by softening it. You can shift frequencies by noticing, by breathing, by pausing long enough to ask, is this reaction coming from who I am, or from who I've been taught to be? Each time you ask this, you begin to move from a reactive dimension to a responsive one, from unconscious repetition to conscious frequency design. That's the architecture of the fifth dimension. It's not dramatic. It's subtle, not forced, invited, not mystical, practical, and it begins now, right here, while listening, while walking, while drinking water more slowly. This is why the fifth dimension is available to everyone, not just the awakened, not just the spiritual. Because it's not about knowledge, it's about state, about choice, about vibration. So how do you know you're stepping into it? You'll notice space between thought and action. You'll feel less urgency and more trust. You'll find yourself choosing silence over argument. You'll find meaning in small moments. You'll become more gentle, not because life got easier, but because you stopped vibrating with resistance. And eventually your outer world begins to shift, not because you forced it, but because you changed the lens. If this is stirring something in you, let it become a new lens, even if just for today. And if this resonates, share in the comments. I am choosing a new lens. Your vibration matters, and when you speak from alignment, the field responds. We expect transformation to feel intense, like something is burning away, breaking open, collapsing dramatically before being reborn. And sometimes it does. But often when you begin aligning with higher frequencies, the first sign isn't fire, it's silence. It's a softness, an unexpected ease. You start to realize nothing on the outside has changed, but I feel different. That is the signature of the fifth dimension. It doesn't scream its arrival. It whispers. It melts. You know you're stepping into this new dimension not because everything becomes perfect, but because your relationship with what is changes. You begin to respond with breath, not urgency. You notice your reactions before they consume you. You feel moments of peace in situations that used to trigger you. You pause before reacting. You smile without needing a reason. You feel a gentle sense of neutrality, not indifference, but equanimity, a quiet inner knowing. I don't have to fight this. I can meet it with grace. This is not resignation, it's remembrance. When you enter the frequency of lightness, you remember that your natural state is not stress, it is harmony. And this lightness is not laziness, avoidance, or spiritual bypassing. It's clarity. It's the absence of unnecessary resistance. It's the realization that not everything needs to be wrestled to the ground in order to shift. So what does it feel like? Imagine this. You wake up and you don't rush to check your phone. You breathe into your chest before standing. You make tea and watch the steam rise. The world is still moving. Emails are waiting. Errands exist. The news plays in the background, but you feel anchored, present, spacious, or this. You're in a conversation where tension usually arises. But this time, you don't bite. You listen. You hold the frequency. You feel your body wanting to react. And instead of suppressing it or expressing it unconsciously, you just breathe. Let it pass. Let it inform you. That is the fifth dimension, embodied. You're no longer leaking energy by reacting to everything. You're conserving vibrational integrity. You're operating from the inside out, and something miraculous begins to happen. People treat you differently. Things feel more aligned. Synchronicities return. Time expands. This is the nature of dimensional reality. The outer begins to reshape itself around your frequency. But here's the important part. The shift doesn't always feel ecstatic. Often it feels like nothing. A quiet stillness, a loosening of tension, a softened inner dialogue, a sigh. And that's where many people get confused, because we are conditioned to believe that change must be loud to be real. But in the higher dimensions, subtlety is power. So how do you know if you're entering? Here are signs. Vibrational, not intellectual. You feel less urgency, even if circumstances are the same. You don't need to explain or justify your peace. You're no longer pulled into every emotional vortex. You rest without guilt. You create without trying to prove anything. You make space for mystery. You feel guided without needing constant answers. You sense a deep okayness even amid the unknown. These are not traits to aspire to. They are your original nature, remembered. And as you remember, your nervous system begins to heal. Your heart field expands. Your energy becomes magnetic, not because of what you do, but because of what you no longer resist. In this frequency, life feels less like a battle and more like a rhythm. You become attuned. You're not trying to win anymore. You're here to feel, and that subtle difference changes everything. But what if you feel like you're in and out of it? That's okay. That's the practice. Dimensional living is not about staying high all the time. It's about noticing when you've dropped and gently returning, again and again, with love, without shame, with presence. Because each time you return, you reinforce the frequency. You anchor it, you expand it, you normalize it in your field. So instead of asking, am I doing this right? Try asking, am I softer than I was yesterday? Am I breathing more deeply into this moment? Am I creating space between stimulus and response? That's how you know. That's how you rewire. That's how you ascend, not up, but in. And eventually, the frequency of lightness becomes your default. You won't even notice it at first, but others will. They'll say you feel different, that it's peaceful to be near you, that your energy is calming, not because you preach, but because you are. And when you are, the field shifts around you, effortlessly. So maybe this is the invitation, to notice the small, to celebrate the gentle, to let stillness be the signpost. Because you don't enter the fifth dimension through effort, you enter through allowing, through noticing, through being. If something inside you just softened, even a little, let it deepen. And if this resonated, leave a trace in the field. I welcome the frequency of lightness. That intention becomes a signal, and the universe will echo it back. What if the true spiritual technology isn't hidden in ancient temples, but embedded in the way you butter your toast, tie your shoes, or say hello? We often search for enlightenment in the extraordinary, mountaintop retreats, sacred ceremonies, ancient texts. And while those are beautiful paths, they are not the only ones. Sometimes the most direct portal to higher consciousness is found in the most ordinary of things, because reality is not changed by what you do once in a while in sacred spaces. It's shaped by the micro decisions you make when no one is watching. In the fifth dimension, these small decisions are not trivial. They are codes, energetic signatures that refine your field, moment by moment, like tuning a delicate instrument. Let's be clear. This is not about perfectionism, it's about presence. It's about choosing resonance over routine, awareness over autopilot, grace over grit. When you begin to live vibrationally, not just conceptually, you realize something powerful. Every action is a spell. Every movement carries a frequency. Every gesture emits a message into the field. The way you open a door, the way you greet the barista, the way you sit down to eat, the way you listen or don't, the way you transition from one moment to the next. These are not mundane behaviors. They are vibrational declarations, and the universe responds in kind. Let's look at a few examples. Everyday codes that align your field with higher dimensional states. 1. Slowness as frequency. When you slow down, even just 10%, your body exits survival mode. Your field expands. You become more sensitive to nuance. You hear intuition more clearly. You make space for guidance. Slowness is not laziness. It is an invitation to coherence. 2. Non-reaction as power. Each time you choose not to be pulled into drama, you reclaim vibrational sovereignty. You are telling the universe, I no longer consent to chaotic timelines. Non-reaction isn't weakness, it's mastery. It says, I trust myself enough to pause. 3. Simplicity as elegance. You begin to notice, less really is more. Fewer words carry more weight. A single candle calms the room. One clear intention is more powerful than 10 forced affirmations. The higher you vibrate, the simpler your life becomes. Complexity is often a symptom of misalignment. 4. Nourishment as communication. What you put into your body tells the field what you are willing to receive. When you eat with presence, you code your cells with reverence. When you hydrate slowly, you remind your system that you are safe. When you prepare a meal mindfully, you infuse your space with harmony. You're not just feeding a body, you're programming a reality. 5. Environment as mirror. The spaces you live in reflect your internal architecture. When you clear clutter, you clear confusion. When you add beauty, you amplify frequency. When you let light in, you invite clarity. You don't have to be minimalist, but you do have to be deliberate. A sacred life is an intentional one. 6. Words as tuning forks. Every word you speak carries a vibration. Words of gratitude resonate differently than words of complaint. You can feel it. So can everyone else. But it's not about censoring yourself. It's about aligning your language with your desired state. Speak from truth, not from habit. Speak to uplift, not to maintain the old field. 7. Breath as gateway. At any moment, your breath can recalibrate your timeline. A slow, conscious inhale signals to your body, I am safe. And safety is the prerequisite for ascension. You cannot access higher dimensions in a body trapped in urgency. Your breath is the bridge. Use it. 8. Attention as currency. Where you place your attention is where you invest your power. Scrolling endlessly, comparing, consuming, these are energy leaks. But when you direct your attention with clarity and care, you become magnetic. Life begins to mirror your focus with elegance. 9. Silence as portal. You do not need to fill every gap with noise. In silence, the field speaks. In stillness, you recalibrate. Even 2 minutes of sitting in presence, no goal, no mantra, just being, can shift your frequency more than an hour of performance. 10. Kindness as technology. Not performative kindness. Not people-pleasing, but true, anchored kindness. The kind that asks nothing in return. This frequency bends timelines. It opens hearts. It repatterns the collective field, and it always returns multiplied. When you begin to honor these codes, you're no longer reacting to life. You're composing it, not from a place of control, but from coherence. Not to manipulate outcomes, but to vibrationally match your desired reality. And here's the magic. As you refine your field in these small daily ways, life begins to shift without effort. People are kinder. Obstacles dissolve. Synchronicities bloom. Because you've stopped forcing reality and started dancing with it. Living from the fifth dimension isn't about escaping the world. It's about re-encoding it through your choices. And the smallest choices, when made from alignment, are the most powerful ones. So ask yourself, how do I brush my teeth? How do I exit a room? How do I end a conversation? What is the quality of my days? Do I eat standing or sitting? Do I say thank you with presence or out of habit? The sacred isn't hidden. It's right here, everywhere, always, and you're already living in the temple. The question is, are you listening to its language? If this landed for you, write in the comments, I honor the codes of the everyday. Let this be your ripple into the field, your declaration to live intentionally, not habitually. We often think of spiritual evolution as something we do beyond the body, as if ascension means leaving behind this physical form. But the opposite is true. Real dimensional living, real vibrational mastery, is deeply, exquisitely embodied. Your body is not the obstacle. It is the instrument. The human system is not just muscle and memory. It is a sophisticated field receiver, a sensory antenna designed to read, transmit, and harmonize with the frequencies of life. Every organ, every rhythm, every nerve fiber is involved in a symphony of communication between you and the cosmos. The question is, are you listening to it? Let's begin with the heart, not just as an emotional center, but as a literal electromagnetic powerhouse. According to the HeartMath Institute, the heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body. This field is 5,000 times more powerful than the one generated by the brain. But more importantly, it responds instantly to your emotional state. When you feel love, appreciation, or compassion, your heart enters a state of coherence. Its rhythm becomes smooth, harmonious, wave-like. This coherent signal then influences your brain, your hormones, your immune system, and more subtly, it radiates into your external environment, informing the quantum field around you of your vibrational set point. You are, in essence, a tuning fork. And the more coherent your inner rhythms, the clearer your signal to the field. Now bring in the brain, not just the logical mind, but the full neurobiological system. The heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. This means your thoughts are often echoes of your emotional and vibrational state, not the other way around. When your heart and brain are out of sync, you experience internal static, anxiety, indecision, irritation, fatigue. But when they're aligned, when heart rhythm and brain waves enter harmonic resonance, you experience clarity, calm, and intuitive intelligence. This state isn't mystical, it's measurable. It's called psychophysiological coherence, and it's the biological basis for accessing higher dimensions of consciousness. The fifth dimension is not accessed through thoughts alone. It's embodied. It requires the body to be in a receptive state, not in fight, flight, or freeze. And the good news? You can enter this state on command with something as simple as conscious breathing. Try this. Place a hand on your chest. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 5. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 5. Bring to mind a memory of deep appreciation, someone you love, a moment of peace, a place that anchors you. Hold that emotion in your heart as you breathe. Stay for 90 seconds. What you're doing is repatterning your field. You're shifting from dissonance to coherence. You're moving into alignment, and in that alignment, your body becomes a bridge between worlds. Your electromagnetic field becomes more coherent. Your intuition becomes more accurate. Your nervous system becomes more relaxed. Your perception sharpens, and the external world responds accordingly. But don't stop at the heart and brain. Your entire body, your gut, your skin, your posture, your muscles, participates in this vibrational dance. Every part of you is reading and responding to frequency. When you stand tall, your field opens. When you hunch, your field contracts. When you nourish your cells with living food, your field stabilizes. When you overstimulate your nervous system, your field fractures. When you ground your feet on the earth, your field reattunes. When you move rhythmically, walking, dancing, breathing, your field entrains with the pulse of the planet. This is not metaphor. This is measurable physics. You are not a static being. You are a living waveform. And when your waveform is clean, clear, and coherent, you become a conductor, a vessel through which dimensional energy flows with elegance. It's no coincidence that many people experience spiritual downloads, synchronicities, and spontaneous manifestations after exercise, dancing, fasting, or immersion in nature. These aren't superstitions. They are physiological states of coherence, states in which the body becomes so finely attuned that it merges with the field. In these moments, you feel lighter, more fluid, time bends, thought softens, reality seems to move with you, not against you. And that's not magic, that's biology plus consciousness, synchronized. So let's anchor this. If you want to access the fifth dimension, start with your body. Breathe in rhythm, drink living water, move with presence, ground daily, sleep deeply, touch with love, feed yourself slowly. Rest when you're full. Notice your posture. Trust your sensations, because the most advanced spiritual technology is already inside you. Your DNA is not a blueprint, it's a symphony, and the moment you remember how to play it, the universe sings back. You don't need to escape your body to ascend. You need to inhabit it fully. Your body is the bridge. Your breath is the signal. Your frequency is the code. And when all three align, the dimensions open, not as fantasy, but as lived reality. If this activated something in you, breathe with it. Let your next exhale be your alignment. And if it resonates, leave your imprint. I am the bridge. I tune my body to light. We often imagine elevated states as peaks, flashes of bliss during meditation, moments of grace on retreat, subtle waves of love in silence. And while these glimpses are real, the challenge is never the entry. The challenge is the continuation. The question isn't, can you reach the fifth dimension? The question is, can you live from it when the world forgets? Because the world will forget. It will tug at your sleeve, asking you to react, rush, shrink. It will test your coherence with traffic, emails, deadlines, confrontation. And this isn't because the world is against you. It's because you are the one rewriting the field. You are no longer reacting from history. You are choosing from presence. This is where true dimensional living begins, not in the peaks, but in the integration. Let's be honest, it's easy to feel expanded when everything is calm, but can you remain aligned when chaos whispers? Can you remember stillness when someone forgets theirs? Can you return to coherence when your plans unravel? This is not about being unshakable, it's about becoming re-anchorable. That's the practice, the soft return, again and again, because you will drift. And that's not failure, that's rhythm. Think of your vibration like a radio station. The more consistently you tune into your desired frequency, the more clearly it transmits. But interference will come, in the form of emotional triggers, mental loops, environmental noise. Your role isn't to eliminate the interference, it's to recognize it quickly, gently, and retune. So how do you sustain this higher dimension throughout your day? You choose it again and again through micro moments of remembering. Here are practical ways to do that. 1. Anchor your morning in frequency, not information. Before opening your phone, open your field, even just 3 minutes. Sit, breathe, feel, ask, what energy do I choose to carry today? Set your tone before the world sets it for you. 2. Use your transitions as portals, between meetings, between rooms, between thoughts. Pause, breathe, retune. Transitions are thresholds. They carry power. Walk through them consciously. 3. Speak with intention, not habit. Words shape timelines. Before you speak, and especially in challenging moments, pause. Ask, does this serve coherence? Let your language become a tuning fork. 4. Respond, don't react. Reaction is inherited. Response is chosen. When triggered, delay your answer by one breath. That breath is the bridge between dimensions. 5. Build in rituals of return. A sip of water, a stretch, a walk without headphones, a hand over your heart. Small gestures repeated often become frequency anchors. 6. Ask high-frequency questions. Instead of, what's wrong? Ask, what's possible? Instead of, how do I fix this? Ask, what frequency am I creating from? The question you ask determines the timeline you access. 7. Remember, the field is listening. Every emotion, every choice, every breath sends a message, not to an external God, but to the intelligent matrix of creation itself. The more coherent your message, the clearer the response. 8. Rest without earning it. This may be the most radical shift. You do not have to exhaust yourself to deserve restoration. Rest is not a reward. It's a recalibration, and your nervous system needs it to stay tuned. 9. Let go of results. Your job is not to make something happen. It's to hold the frequency of its inevitability. Manifestation in the fifth dimension is less about effort and more about alignment. 10. Forgive quickly, not for others, for your own field. Resentment is a vibrational knot. Untie it. Let go. Return to peace. Now, let's speak to the part of you that still feels too human, too emotional, too messy to maintain all this. That's okay. That's perfect. You are not here to perform enlightenment. You are here to practice remembrance. Softly, sincerely, humbly. Each time you forget and come back, your signal strengthens. Each time you fall and rise again, your field expands. Each time you choose love over fear, calm over control, truth over habit, you are shifting timelines, and not just yours. You're shifting the collective, because vibration is contagious, and every aligned choice you make sends ripples through The field, ripples that will touch lives you'll never meet, ripples that bend outcomes in your favor, ripples that call new realities into form. So let this be your new rhythm. Notice, return, repeat, not to become perfect, but to become present, not to master life, but to harmonize with it, not to escape reality, but to choose it differently. Let your day become a sacred experiment. How many times can I choose again? And every time you do, whisper back to the field, I choose this frequency. I live this dimension. This is how worlds change, not through revolution, but through recalibration. And if you feel called, declare it now in the comments. I sustain my light with choice. This anchors the vibration, and every anchor makes the dimension more real. We've been taught to see love as a feeling, a spark between people, a reward for being good, a privilege we must earn, prove, or protect. But in the higher dimensions, love is not a reward. It is a force, a field, a frequency that organizes reality itself. Love is not sentimental. It is structural. It holds galaxies in orbit. It bridges timelines. It rewires DNA. It softens trauma without touching it. It tunes the soul back to its original signal. In the fifth dimension, love is not about romance. It's not about craving or clinging. It's not an agreement between egos. It's presence without condition. It's the field you emit when you stop resisting what is. It's what arises when your nervous system, heart, and mind align into coherence. And when you vibrate this frequency, the field responds immediately. Opportunities accelerate. Healing happens without analysis. Conversations open that once felt blocked. You walk into a room, and people feel safer, even if they don't know why. Because your field isn't broadcasting need, it's broadcasting integration. Love is not something you get, it's something you become. And when you become it, you transmit a signal stronger than any belief or identity. Let's go deeper. What does love look like in dimensional practice? 1. Love is the absence of resistance. It doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means not contracting in fear when life surprises you. It means letting the moment be what it is before trying to shape it. 2. Love is nervous system safety. When you are in love, not romantic love, but unconditional presence, your body softens, your breath deepens, your heart rate stabilizes. This state is not metaphor, it is biochemical peace, and it's in this peace that reality reshapes around you. 3. Love is non-separation. You stop seeing others as other. You begin to recognize yourself in the mirror of each being. Even in conflict, you feel the texture of connection, even when you disagree, because your field no longer vibrates with defensiveness, it vibrates with wholeness. 4. Love is the collapse of duality. Right and wrong begin to dissolve. You stop labeling your experiences as bad or good. You start listening for their frequency. You ask, what is this here to open in me? 5. Love is choosing trust without needing control. It's the moment you say, I don't know how this works out, but I know I'm not alone in it. And suddenly, without logic, the solution finds you. 6. Love is the most advanced manifestation technology. Why? Because when you vibrate love, you collapse timelines faster. You operate from the field of already being. You no longer try to attract from lack, you emit from fullness. This is why so many people who chase results from anxiety don't manifest ease, because you cannot build coherence from contraction. But love, true vibrational love, creates immediate harmonic resonance. It tells the universe, I remember who I am, and the universe replies, welcome back. Here's what it means practically. Loving yourself doesn't mean never feeling pain. It means not abandoning yourself when you do. Loving others doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means staying coherent even when they're not. Loving the moment doesn't mean celebrating chaos. It means choosing presence inside it. And when you live like this, the veil between dimensions begins to thin. You'll notice you no longer feel the need to rush. You don't chase love, it finds you. You attract people who reflect your wholeness, not your wounds. Your energy speaks louder than your words. Your silence becomes more powerful than old explanations. Time bends, money flows, the body softens. Not because you performed a ritual, but because your being became the ritual. This is love as frequency. Love is not passive. It's not soft in the way we imagine. It is fierce, precise, subtle, unshakable. It rearranges your relationships, it purifies your decisions, it calibrates your timelines, because love is not what you feel, it's what you allow to move through you without distortion. So if you want to live from the fifth dimension, begin here, not with affirmations, not with books, not with more doing. Begin with the decision to emit love in how you speak, move, walk, look, sit, rest. Begin with the choice to stop resisting what is. Begin with the courage to see through the eyes of wholeness, even when the world forgets its own. And then, when you're not looking for it, life changes. Reality rearranges. You didn't force anything. You became the vibration that made forcing unnecessary. If this resonates with something ancient in you, claim it. I embody love as frequency, not as performance, but as remembrance. This is the real technology. This is the gateway. This is the signal. There is a reason certain moments feel timeless. Why? For a fleeting instant, everything seems to glow, though nothing in the outer world has changed. A quiet morning, a look from someone you love, the scent of jasmine on a warm evening, a single note in a song that moves you to tears, a deep exhale after you've finally let go. In these moments, you've touched the edge of a frequency that is not linear, not logical, not earned but remembered. That feeling is not a fluke. It is a home frequency, and it's been waiting patiently for you to return. You've been there before, not just in this life, not just in childhood, but in the memory field of your soul. The fifth dimension is not a foreign place. It is the original blueprint of who and what you are. Before you learned fear, contraction, separation, speed, before you were told you had to prove your worth, before the world convinced you that rest was laziness, before your joy was measured by productivity, before your stillness was labeled as weakness, this higher frequency, this dimension of lightness, and is not an achievement. It is a remembering. And when you remember, the field remembers you. You don't have to fight your way back. You just have to stop pretending you're not already whole. You don't have to transcend your life. You just have to live it from another frequency. And that frequency has always been accessible. It's just quiet, soft, still. It doesn't compete for your attention. It waits. It waits in the pauses you rush to fill, in the silence you avoid, in the intuition you doubt, in the joy you postpone. But here's the truth. There is nothing more magnetic than your natural frequency, untouched. When you return to it, not perform it, but return, your life begins to orbit around that light. People feel it. Circumstances rearrange. Pathways unfold. Not because you're high vibe all the time, but because you've stopped arguing with your essence. And this, beloved soul, is the heart of dimensional embodiment. You are not here to become something. You are here to shed everything you're not. The fifth dimension is not above you. It's beneath the noise. It's in the eye of your storms. The breath between your sentences, the tear you let fall without explanation, the truth you whisper when no one is around. And every time you choose to live from that place, you anchor the dimension more deeply. You shift from visitor to resident. You stop seeking. You start seeing. You stop controlling. You start listening. You stop resisting. You start remembering. Because this isn't your first time here. You've known peace before. You've felt wonder. You've trusted life without needing guarantees. This is not a journey of achievement. This is a journey of return, of reconnection, of resurrection, of resonance. And maybe now, in this moment, with everything you've lived, you're finally ready to stay. Not perfectly, but softly, daily, lovingly. So breathe. Let the dimension rise to meet you. Not in the future, not when you're more evolved. Now, here, exactly as you are. This is the home frequency, and the more you live from it, the more life reorders itself to support it. Let your presence be the portal. Let your peace be the proof. You've been there before, and you're all ready. On your way back, if your soul is saying yes, whisper back into the field, I am home in the frequency of who I've always been. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your signal. Let that be the final breath of return. If this vision resonated in your field, perhaps it's time to live from this frequency, not just visit it. A new reprogramming will be waiting for those who are ready to inhabit this remembered light. And if your soul feels it, subscribe to walk the next step with us. There's more to come, and the next dimension is already listening.